Welcome to Don't You Have Anything Better to Do? With your host, me. Very first show ever.
That's awesome.
I'm Chris Donley, musician, artist, here to talk about everything, mostly music, state of music industry today. So basically, a channel for musicians, nerds, and other low lifes like myself. Just kidding. Here with the very first guest ever, producer, engineer, on-air personality, musician, singer, jack of all trades, Mr. Mark Abrams. Hi, Marky.
Audio nerd or
How are
giant.
you, pal?
Great.
Tell
Thanks
us
for
about, a
having me
little
on
bit
here.
about yourself.
I am a giant nerd. I don't leave this room. I think you got it. Yeah.
That's it. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, well, I didn't know like the PureMix stuff. Like, how much of that are you still doing?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So with PureMix, so for anybody who doesn't know, PureMix is like a audio tutorial online video company, and we teach people, our tagline is we teach people how to make records. And we do that by like when a big song comes out, we'll find out who did the mix. If it's a mix that blows us all away, we'll find out who did the mix, and then we'll fly out to their studio. They'll open up the session and they'll either mix the song again from scratch on camera and explain like why they do everything they do, or they'll break down the mix that they already did and explain why they did what they did. But we focus on the why instead of like the how, so we don't get too like nerdy on gear. It's all about like, like
so normal people can
why.
still catch on and dig it
Totally.
too.
It's like, yeah, the vocal was too bright, so I did this thing instead of just like, yeah, yeah, I took down 2 dB at 14K and like that doesn't mean anything. So with that company, I'm the content manager for that. So that I do everything from manage the video team, to make sure like what we shoot actually gets edited and put out and maintain a release schedule, all the way to like I direct most of the shoots now and book all the travel and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, kind of shifting
And do you
roles
take
in
you
that.
take a video crew with you, or do you meet like do you hire somebody like in that city or whatever?
We just started hiring a person in LA when we go to LA, but otherwise we usually fly with our own crew,
Hmm.
which is a pain. It's a lot
Yeah,
of gear
I
and
imagine so.
yeah, giant pain to do that. But um, yeah, that role is kind of like shifting over. I'm mostly just going to be doing directing in the near future, because I'm also doing things like,
You don't
managing
want to be on camera?
partnerships. I still do some of that stuff. It's the interesting thing about the camera stuff is like the first time I did a video, I've been with them for 10 years now, so it's been a minute, but like the first time I did a video, I think it was one of the most painful experiences of my life because I
Really?
also like had to do all the editing and
No.
everything for it, and I just couldn't look at myself. Like when I heard my own voice, I was like, "Oh God, I can't do this. Like I'm not
I
gonna be able
feel
to
you
do
on
it."
that. I
Yeah.
I don't even know I'm gonna try to do this because when I get my 5 likes or 5 views,
Uh,
but anyway, whatever. Who
yeah, I've
cares?
seen your YouTube numbers. I think you'll do better than that.
No.
Um,
So with
the
the pure, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I think that I mean there's an interesting thing probably to even talk about there, like as artists. I at some point something just clicked in my brain where it was like I think the important thing was that I realized was like they're not coming here to like watch me talk necessarily or like to see me. It was they're coming for information, and that's all that's important about it.
Well,
So
don't
it's
you think
kind of
like some of them are coming too as like as some of their favorite producers, or it's like somebody did it, mixed a
yeah,
record or something, they'd be like, "Whoa, that's how they really are." Because like I always
yeah,
wanted to know like Terry Date, like what he was like as a dude, because he
right,
did so many of my favorite albums, like Mother Love Bone, Louder Than Love, Pantera, Deftones. But
yeah.
I can't find really anything hardly ever on the internet that's just, hey, I'm Terry Date. This is what I do, because
Oh, I should track him down.
get Terry Date on there, baby.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Who
All
has
right,
been
challenge accepted.
your favorite guest on the Pure Mix stuff?
Oh man, there's a lot of really great ones on there. I think one of my favorite mixers right now for sure is Adam Hawkins. He did like the 21 Pilots records. That's how I met him was we did a 21 Pilots song on there, but he's also done
Is he
a
in Columbus too?
no, he's in Nashville now. He was LA and then he got the hell out of there. And now he wants to get the hell out of Nashville.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hillbilly LA.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he's not acclimating well, but
Right.
yeah, that one was really fun. I love the way that he hears music just resonates with me for sure. But there's so many on there, and um, I the amazing thing for me, like with that job, was I got to meet like there used to be this show called Pensado's Place that I was watching when I was like coming up, and these guys all became my heroes, like Eric Valentine and Andrew Sheps and all these people. And when I joined with PureMix, it was like, hey, you're gonna go shoot with Andrew Sheps, and that was like,
Do you get
holy shit.
nervous?
Yeah, oh
Like,
yeah, yeah.
did you?
The first funny story, I'll be quick, but the first time I shot with Andrew, at that point I was doing like kind of cameraman stuff. I wasn't managing content or anything yet. So I was on the shoot as like a camera guy and kind of like a grip, and I was miking up Andrew, and we had talked for like 5 minutes before that, and we knew each other from one other thing, but it was like a very like we were acquaintances. But
Mm.
so I go to mic him up, and he's got a really long beard. So we had this lapel mic that goes on the inside of the shirt, and there's three pins that go through it, and then you put the capsule on it. And I could not get, they're like really tiny pins. I have big hands, and I couldn't get this thing. So I'm just like in his beard for like 3 minutes. I'm like, this isn't awkward at all. It's like, so yeah, I definitely got nervous. Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
know those 21 Pilots guys when you were like when they were coming up? Because it seemed like they just came out of nowhere, honestly, like
Yeah.
from the Columbus scene. But I don't know, man. It
Yeah.
was just,
So my tie to them is one of my very first recording clients when I had the studio in my parents' basement. His name was Joseph. He was like an R&B.
Joseph,
Joseph. Did you know
Joseph.
Joseph?
No, I don't know,
No.
Joseph.
Okay. He was like an R&B guy, like pop R&B, kind of like Usher at the time, from Mansfield. So like he was in our circle, but he wasn't playing like Club 42 or anything. It was like
Well,
mostly
remember we had like the hip hop artists on our CD release party,
yeah.
and I don't know if he was around that time.
He would have been doing some stuff back then. Yeah. But yeah, like he and I became really good friends, and he when 21 Pilots was starting out, he was going to OSU, and the singer was in one of his classes, and they did some songs together and stuff, and they were best friends. And Joseph's the only person that's ever been featured on a 21 Pilot song, but it was like before they got signed.
Huh,
Um, so Joseph knew him, and on their first like local release or whatever, he gave me the CD. He's like, "Oh, yo, my boys are playing at the Newport. You should come out and check out the show." And like I listened to the CD, and I was kind of busy at the like in that time, and I was just like, I don't think I can make it. I wasn't honestly that into it.
really?
And then their like second thing came out, which they wound up remaking for the label release, but
Oh, really?
that one for some reason like hit me like an earworm. Like I didn't like it at first, and then for some
Mm,
reason I like put it back in again, and then I couldn't stop listening to it, which was like
really?
bizarre. There was just something about that singer, like he, started he taught himself how to play music, he taught himself Logic, and then he made all those demos by himself.
Right.
And he was a basketball player from like a basketball family.
Hmm.
So it was like not cool to his family. Like his jock brothers thought he was a nerd for like learning music and all that stuff. So there
Yeah.
was something about it that like I connected with. And then I remember the studio I work at now, the owner's daughter was an assistant to a lady named Cara DiAguardi, who was like a judge on American Idol and big songwriter and all that. And she was scouting them, and she wound up passing on them. She's just like, I don't see what people like about these guys. I'm out of here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that was like not a great
Huh.
move on her part because they did okay.
I'm just happy
Yeah,
somebody from Ohio's doing great.
totally.
We like
Yeah.
we did. I don't. Did you hear our cover? We did that Heathens cover on the last Critic City album.
Oh, damn, I didn't.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
we
cool.
did. We did. It was
That's
fun.
awesome.
What would you say is the moment you realized that your life would be like music production, singing, writing, mixing? Can you
Yeah,
think of this like weird epiphany that just
100%.
struck you? Really? And
Yeah,
you can't say it was a seeing me play the first time. You have to
it was
say like,
definitely seeing you play the first time. Well, okay, so we were doing the band thing, and I remember so
which by the
they
way, I'm wearing the old
which
something said shirt from
my mind is like blown that you found that shirt. That's awesome.
dude, keep it all,
Uh
baby. Yeah,
that
they're
shirt is probably 25 years old,
I don't
25,
know.
26 years old, something like that.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
It's still in
So
great shape.
yeah, that's wild. So yeah, I was like that band. came together, the bass player, I was just like playing guitar for fun, and the bass player and I went to high school together and was like, hey, let's do this band thing. And I remember like thinking my parents wouldn't, for some reason, I thought that they wouldn't let me be in a band. Like they would think it was like a bad
Really?
choice or whatever, like a
Oh, it
career choice or
was.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it,
they were
it pretty
right.
much is. And
Right, yeah. Yeah, but they were like 100% like, oh, you should definitely do that.
yeah.
So, but that wasn't, it was a couple years later, we went to make our second record at a place called John Schwab Recording in Columbus. And I remember like we went into a session, it was like a Tuesday at like 10 a.m.
Well, that's
And
where like Peach Bones always recorded, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah. I think that's probably why we went there was because of them. My brother was just like, it was going to be with them, or we wanted to have Mike Roberts from my vet do it because
Oh,
he was
dude,
starting to.
Mike. Yeah, dude.
That would have been crazy because yeah, he was getting
He was
started
at
in
Mars,
music
wasn't
too.
he, at the time,
Yeah,
or doing stuff at Mars?
yeah, which I never got to go to. I don't know if
I
it's
never
still
did
around.
either.
Yeah. But yeah, so we went to John Schwab and it's like a Tuesday at 10 a.m. and John Finnell, who's still active, he runs Relay Recording down here, but John was engineering and I remember like I was sitting there and I was like looking around and I was, at obviously like poor musician at the time and just thinking like my parents were helping us out, but I was like, man, how are we going to pay for this? Like, wait a minute, we're paying this guy. It's Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Is he?
Right, gotcha.
So I was like, hey, so it's a Tuesday at 10 o'clock. Like, do you do this all the time? And he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's my
Wake
job.
up when
I
I
was like, it's your job? Job? Like, this is all you do? And he's like, yes. I was like, you don't say. And you went to college for this. And he's like, yeah. So I was in OSU in my first year for computer programming. And uh, as soon as he said that, I was like, how do I get the hell out of OSU and go find a college that does this? And
and where did you go to school for,
I
like
went
for music production?
the Conservatory of Recording Arts in Arizona.
Okay.
So, yeah, my like when I was, graduated high school, I was definitely into the band thing and I thought I wanted to be an artist for sure. Uh, and my parents were like, we support you in that, but we also want you to at least try college
Right.
and
That's how
just
mine were too.
at least just give it a shot. They're like, if it doesn't work out, we're not going to be mad at you, but just try it. And like that was the bridge of college isn't working out. Like I knew I wasn't going to like it. I'm not doing well, but I could do this thing that I want to do in
Right.
college. And they were like, okay. Like it wasn't, it was, I was amazed that they weren't like, it doesn't seem like a great idea or anything like that. I mean, they're the most supportive parents in the world. So that was awesome.
Mine too. Like
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't really come out all the time, but like they never really gave me a hassle. And then,
Yeah.
they were just like, just get your degree and then do what you want. So literally I did, and you know,
Yeah.
still doing what I want. So
That's
that's all.
awesome.
But yeah, dude, I'm with you. I mean,
Yeah. I
thanks.
mean, we're
Cheers up
lucky
to
to have that.
good folks like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I know a lot of people that didn't have that and
Oh,
it caused rifts and all that. And
but then again, there's other people that I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have.
right.
Maybe I'd be successful. Maybe I'd be farther along. And
Right.
I'm just kidding.
I remember like that the shirt that you're wearing, that excessive record, the cover of that
It's
was
just white, wasn't it? Wasn't it
no, it
just?
was this like cartoon character and he had a like the wind up toys that you'd have like the wind up
Hmm.
metal thing in the back.
Hmm.
Um I remember like telling the guy who was doing the art for it like I want to see a businessman where it's just like he just winds up and goes through every day
Because
like on
because
autopilot.
he's the friggin' robot, the
Right.
zombie,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
That's the way
And
I
that
feel
was
too, man.
how I felt,
Could you
when I
imagine
was
having
in
to
music.
wear a suit every day? That'd be
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was the moment though was I realized that this guy was doing it for money and I was like,
So that was what, like 2000,
yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that? No
Yeah.
way. Do you remember the first album you ever like bought with your own money?
Oh yeah. Uh it was wait, I said that so confidently. Uh Cassette was an Elvis cassette. But when I went like when I actually got into music, my brother, I remember like we had like a clubhouse in our neighborhood and he had started like learning guitar and I tried when I was a kid to like take guitar lessons, but the guy was teaching me like Yankee Doodle and stuff. So it didn't grab me. I just wanted to be
Right,
Marty McFly from Back to the Future,
right.
you know? And I
Sorry, it's
stopped.
just too darn loud.
Yeah, right. It's just too darn loud. Your kids are gonna love it. Um, yeah, my brother started like picking up guitar and he was learning like Skynyrd songs and stuff. And then he discovered Pearl Jam and Nirvana. And we were on a walk and he had a Walkman with Pearl Jam's 10. And he's like, hey, let's go like sit on this log over here. I want to show you something. And he just like put the headphones on my head. It like could be in a movie or whatever. The scene was like so precious as a brother or whatever. But he put it
Oh,
on my head and I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing in life. Whatever.
Steve is
Like,
his older brother, right?
yeah,
By
yeah.
a
Yeah,
couple
3 years
years.
older. Yeah. So yeah, when we were making that band, we begged him to be in it or whatever.
Is he in a band in Boston or anything? Like, or is he?
Not right now. He's been in a few different ones in Boston. The last one was a band called the Frost Heaves, and they were like a indie punk thing that was really freaking good. It was
Hmm,
awesome. Yeah.
cool.
But yeah, he's not playing right now because just had his first kid and they're quite busy with that.
The
Yeah.
Abrams offspring coming to
Yeah.
life. Very good.
Totally.
If you what do you think if you could go back in time to like sit in on any recording or band or session? Do you like have any idea what that would be?
Oh, wow. That's a good one. Um,
Maybe not just in terms of just like, the nerd factor of like, man, like they're using all
right.
this and stuff, but like more like just the
From the
feel or the
actual.
energy or just like the whole environment.
Um,
Or just want to party with the band. Who knows?
I mean, it would be, I have a feeling like I think about those Pearl Jam 10 sessions, what those must have been like. And I've
Mhm.
gotten to meet some of the engineers that have told me stories and stuff, but it seems like at that time, that band, it wasn't, at least from what I understand, it wasn't like under the pressure of a label and stuff. So it was like just a band being a band and not
Mhm.
worried about selling records and everything.
Mhm.
And for some reason in my mind, those sessions were like super artistic and free.
Yeah,
And that would have been cool to see.
good answer.
I think
Plus, I
that
mean,
that's the
they
one.
they were probably so like just craving to do something since Andy died, and
Yeah.
like I don't know,
Yeah.
it's crazy,
And what a
crazy.
weird time like in their lives too. Like I can't imagine I don't know what the time period was between Mother Love Bone and Pearl Jam, but I can't imagine that that was like
It was
easy
only
to
like
get
a
going.
year or a year and
Yeah.
a half, I think. Like they literally got on it quick, and
Yeah.
then like they did the Temple of the Dog album and stuff. But
Yeah.
I just can't imagine like they. I think it was like the week that the album was that Mother of the Bone was supposed to be released. I think that he died.
Yeah. That's wild.
But crazy.
That's wild.
Who
Yeah.
would you say that like is your biggest influence, like in terms of making you want to create music?
Back then or now?
I don't know. Give me either.
Hmm. Let's see. Back then it was probably Pearl Jam and Brendan O'Brien for making those records. Once I started like really digging into what is record production, because I didn't know
Was
like
he
when
STP and stuff too, wasn't he?
he did like yeah, he did S I think he did SCP, I think Soundgarden. I know he did like some of those middle Incubus records.
Did he?
Like Crow Left of the Murder was him.
Okay.
And I thought that record was insane. Um, at the time too, A Perfect Circle, like when I was in college, that second Perfect Circle record came out, and that one was like mind-blowing sonically. There was also a Filter record that was pretty amazing back then. It was either the
Title
Amalgama
of
or the
record
one,
or
yeah, I think
Mal,
title of a record and then the one right after it, both of those sonically were incredible.
which is so
And
weird. I went back and listened to that album like a couple weeks ago, and it's like it just sounds so great, but you don't realize like
yeah,
looking at it now, like a 6 minute song, and it's but you don't somehow he made it so you don't realize his songs, like Patrick's songs, they don't feel that long for some reason.
right.
And I don't know why or how, but like it's
Yeah,
just wild because it's like if I went back and recorded one, I'd probably be like, I probably should trim the fat a little bit here, maybe here, but I
yeah.
don't know. It's pretty
Right.
wild how you got away with it.
When the production and like the writing and everything are so good, it's kind of wild how you don't realize how long it is. And when it's
Right,
bad, it feels like it's just painful, you know?
right. Well, like
Yeah.
when you're writing music, are you cognizant of like, do you actually just let it flow, or do you actually just be like, all right, vocal quick, get to the chorus, 30 seconds, at least a minute, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Do you try to do that? Because I found myself not purposely doing it, but just because I enjoy it that way
Right.
now. I mean, I've
Yeah.
become where it's like, all right, it's like that Tom Petty quote, "Don't bore us, get to the chorus," you know?
Yeah.
So,
Right. I can't imagine having like a 30 to 45-second intro anymore, you
mhm.
know? That
It's
that seems
wild.
like
And
it'd
then
be
you go
really
back to
hard.
like Appetite for Destruction. Like
Yeah.
every song, there's vocals don't even come in until like minute 30 or something. It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
And it was okay too. It was okay for that to be the way it was.
right,
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I think probably let it flow. When I'm writing with other people, it's usually, with some sort of career in mind for them, you know?
right.
So it's kind of like a that usually like if I'm working with somebody in the studio, the first thing I have them do is play the song down, and then as they're doing it, I'm charting it, and then almost instantly the first thing is like, hey, I don't know if the second verse needs to be 24 bars, like maybe
Can
we
you
should.
read and write music and everything?
No, no,
No.
I cannot. I can
So
do
you're just writing
very
like four times verse, four
exactly.
times chorus.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, and count bars. I learned a cool trick. I don't know if this will be video or not, but a drummer one time was talking about how he would count like the same thing. He would just have him play the song like it was a session drummer, and as he was like sitting there writing charts, he would count on his finger the indentations of each finger. So as he's going through, he's counting beats, and he'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4,
If you
3,
get to the thumb, it's too far,
4,
right?
4, 2, 3, 4, and then he would just switch over and go 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, or whatever. So he wasn't like looking for that. He was just trying to chart the structure, but
Oh,
that was
okay.
how he would count without anybody
Drummers
noticing.
have a hard time counting usually anyway, though. So
So he had to use his fingers.
he always
Yeah.
played barefoot like Tom because he had to use his toes too. I'm just kidding, drummers. In your opinion, like uh what do you should the music industry do different to try and sustain any type of model, considering like so many people can do a lot of what they want like on their own now? Like, do you think the music industry is it close to being over, or what do you well, like what do you feel?
I don't know. I mean, I there's so many interesting paths that conversation can go with. Like, I don't think the music industry will ever end as we know it, like at right now, just because they seem to, despite when if I personify the music industry, it's like some fat New York guy being like, where's that? She needs less clothes on,
Got the big got the
Yeah, he
big
got the big
cigar
cigar.
and
Yeah. But like they always seem to find a way, despite being dinosaurs, to stay alive.
right,
Like I mean, they missed the boat completely on the streaming thing. That's number one. Like they
right,
picked up when Napster was around. It's like, how did you miss that? Everybody else knew about it. How did you
right,
not take it seriously? So, I mean, the revenue is nowhere near what it used to be, or the industry isn't what it used to be, but they always seem to find a way to keep it going. And there's enough money from other sources, like what they can do with charging money for an ad during the Grammys, and then,
right,
people getting cuts of that. And there's there's just so many other revenue streams that like I don't think that major labels are going anywhere. I think that we'll continue to have large pop stars. I think the days of legendary artists might be over, or at least
right,
far and few between.
right.
Uh, but I think it'll kind of stick around. In terms of making it better, um, number one would be for everybody to just quit, myself included, unfortunately, cancel their Spotify account. That guy is awful.
I
But
I canceled mine.
yeah, I want to cancel mine, but my problem is that clients always send me Spotify links to listen to.
Right.
I'm like, damn
Well, that's
it.
the thing. Your clients are musicians. Musicians are broke. I mean,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
sorry, but it is it's a cool thing if you don't have the money, but it's
right,
just like the new stuff they just passed, like what in the last 2 years, where if you don't get a certain amount of streams, you don't get anything.
right.
It's just wild. Nobody realizes that when you say, "Oh, I listen to you all the time." Well, I'm paying my $10 a month, but
Yeah,
you're like, I need a million streams to get not a
anything.
million, but
Right.
a lot to even like equal if you just bought it for $10 on my website. And
Right.
I'm still not
Yeah.
getting the $10,
Right.
unless it's
Yeah.
BandCamp Friday or whatever. But
Yeah. Do they have payment fees on Bandcamp?
they do.
Processing fees? Yeah.
They do.
Right.
Even on BandCamp Friday, but it's still, you
Yeah.
know, it's
Yeah.
about the best you can get, but
Yeah.
unless you're still selling CDs and vinyl out of your trunk, but
Right. And that,
I don't
yeah, I
know.
mean, that's an interesting thing now too. Like, hopefully this isn't boring, but like,
Who cares?
back when we had like when our bands were playing together, you could sell t-shirts and maybe make $8 a shirt, or you'd sell a CD and maybe make, $13 or something after duplication and everything. And there was a way to recoup, if you were
Mhm.
whatever, like between 5 and 10K in debt for a record, there was a way to recoup the expense if you
Right,
hustled. And now, like, I mean, there's so many artists that I work with that they'll, throw the stuff up on Spotify and just kind of cross their fingers, and it's like they're still spending that much money.
right,
What's actually, it's sidebar. What's interesting is studio rates have not gone up proportionately
right.
with inflation
Well,
and
that's
everything.
the hard part too, though. Like, I mean, even you're not like a busy, crazy band, blah blah blah. And how many artists or whatever they nowadays you have to do like a Kickstarter and hope for the best that the back end that you can hopefully get your fans back and stuff just to pay for the production of the album. Not even like totally. I mean, really, how many CDs are you going to print these days? And you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Considering vinyl has outsold CDs again, and there's no CDs and CD players in cars anymore. I
right.
mean,
Yeah,
it's
there's no
just
point. Yeah, so what we're left with merch wise is vinyl and t-shirts.
shirts and
That's
jackets
basically
and
it.
stuff, right?
Yeah,
And then you got the venues if they somehow decide they want to take a cut of that somehow.
right.
It's just
Yeah,
it's just getting tougher and tougher. And but
yeah.
what do you do? Because like it's like watching. Did you see Beato's his post the other day where it was an interview with I want to say like the president of Atlantic UK or something,
Hmm.
and he literally was just talking about what they go for nowadays, and it's basically a content creator that's got a huge following already, where they don't have to step in and hardly do anything because they
Right.
already built up so much of it as it is. It's like
Yeah.
snakes.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that brings up another thing. I'm gonna bookend the last thing with like we're just talking about recouping expenses. We're not even talking about making a living wage.
Right. And
Like
that's yeah,
it's
if you think
crazy.
about like
Yeah.
how many hours any artist like spends to paint something or to and the
Yeah.
supplies and or how long it takes to write and learn a song or how much gear you get to lug and
Yeah.
it's I don't even want to think about it, but
Yeah. I'll put a spot or a positive spin on it in a second, but yeah, that's like um it's it's just insane that like the whole thing is basically like that's now considered a hobby by society
right.
the
I
way we
like
reward it.
on my taxes, like my accountant's like, dude, you got to show that you made something or they're gonna start coming knocking because it's a
Yeah.
hobby because you lose money every year. And it's like
Right.
if I have a
Yeah.
girlfriend, that's how I make it through, you know.
Right. Yeah. You're
I'm
like,
just
I'll tell the
kidding.
person. But
I'm kidding.
yeah, the one other gross thing that I was going to point out was it was another Daniel Elk, the CEO of Spotify. His thing was like, well, I mean, artists are complaining about the streaming rates, but they just need to step into today's world and realize that if they want to make more money, they just got to put out more stuff. It's like, you are so out of touch.
Yeah,
They just got to go more in debt and make
right,
more music and make
right,
more art and like sacrifice the quality of it so that it fits my business model.
right.
Um,
Or do like patent, like and have the packaging so cool that you have to buy, you
right.
know, the physical because like I almost feel bad for kids for years like that they've never like had the tangible thing. What's cool,
Yeah.
like my stepson, his friends, they all love like CDs. They have vinyl, and like he actually
Oh,
asked for a boombox for Christmas, and he's buying tapes now. And it's like
oh, that's awesome.
for
Yeah.
us, we're just like got this big thing of CDs in our car that you're trying to,
Yeah.
while you're driving.
Yeah, exactly. You're
The
like
happiest thing
holding
ever
one
was
in your
getting
mouth
all
and
of our entire playlists in our phone, and they're like
yeah.
going the other way. We're like, It's all good though, you
Yeah.
know?
Did you ever have your book of CDs stolen from your car?
Nope, I never did. I always took them out. I always,
You're
always took
smart.
them out.
Yeah,
But, or I hid them under my seat, like while I was at class and stuff. But,
also smart. Yeah.
yeah, I
I
don't
had
know.
them stolen and I thought my life was over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do
It's
you,
like,
if
oh,
you
I
wrote
got
and
so much
recorded
money.
a new album, who like other than yourself would you want to like mix, master, produce?
Ooh, great question. Great question.
Well,
Wow.
thanks.
I I thought about that because of the PureMix thing, like getting to talk to all of my heroes, where it's like I could actually pull together a dream team, and who would I do that with? And
Right.
Vance Powell is one of them for sure. So Vance, he did the Jack White stuff and like the Raconteurs.
Okay.
Um, uh, this there's a bunch of other bands that are amazing, but he he sort of changed the way that I made records almost instantly the first time that I did like a session with him. And that was because the way that he was capturing everything was exactly how he wanted it to be at the end of it as it was going down the tape. So there was no
Really?
like, yeah, like sorry,
No.
quick story. Because this changed everything for me. I went to this workshop that he did. It was a weekend long workshop at Blackbird in Nashville, and he brought in a four-piece band. And before the band showed up, we're all there for the first day. He comes in and says hi, and like we all get to know each other. And then he's like, "All right," and he slaps the head of a tape machine on the desk, and he goes, "This is for the Studio 827 over there. So we're going to record the tape this weekend. The head that's on there is a 24 track head." It's like, this is an 8 track head. We're going to use the 8 track head.
Wow.
That means we have to capture everything the way that we want it because there's no going back or
Right.
whatever. So the whole thing was about like being creative and his like theme for the weekend, he was like, the thing I'm going to say over and over again is make a decision. He's like, nobody makes decisions anymore in the studio. Everybody waits until later.
Fix it in
Enter
post.
like we have amp sims, we have vocal tuning, we have microphone modeling that you can change the microphone you worked on or that you recorded on in the mixing process. And he's like, I hate all of that. He's like, nobody actually does anything artistic in the recording process because they're just worried about getting a good level down and they leave it all for later. It's like the
Right.
problem with that is you're performing to all of these things that have no life to them.
It's got
So
the feel. You got to have the feel. You got to have the
yeah,
vibe. You got to have like that actual exciting. There's that something.
yeah, like the sonic part of it, everything, like how, yeah, everything. No drum samples, that kind of thing. Like it's all, we're gonna record it the way we want it. So he recorded, he had everybody split out on a large console, but he bust all the drums down to 2 tracks and guitars down to 2 tracks. And then I think in the end we had one track left for overdubs, and he used it to the singer had like a regular SM7, and then he had a 58 that was plugged into a rat pedal that was going into a Fender Princeton, and it was blasting into the room with the band.
Hmm.
So it was like we got to get the level of that amp right as we're recording
Right.
it. All the amps were in the same room, and he's like, this is a record," and it was the most amazing thing I ever like heard come through speakers. It sounded so powerful
But
and
don't you
just
think
like
that that
done.
depends
Yeah,
on the genre though too? Like, because if you're doing like, hip hop or like
can't
even
do
like
that.
metal or
Yeah.
something, you know what I mean? It would
Yeah.
kind of be more definitely metal. It's got to be more so precise, I think. I
Right.
mean, I don't know what the
Yeah.
last metal album is that, sounded like it was I don't know, I
Played
can't
live.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, those records are like, all right, drummer, you know your drum part. You don't even need to play with anybody else. Here's the click track. And then they go through
Hmm.
and edit everything down. And yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it is definitely it's definitely genre dependent. I
But
mean, even
if
with
it's rock
vocals.
or pop or like, stuff like that, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
not maybe not pop, but yeah,
Well, pop,
indie.
I was doing a lot of pop at that time, and the way I would record vocals was like no compression, no EQ on the way in, and I would do it with plugins and leave it for myself for later because I didn't want to mess it up or whatever.
Right.
But that was kind of what that weekend taught me was like I can still do that sort of thing with a hip hop record or a pop record with anything that I am recording. Or if we're doing a virtual instrument, instead of being like, that's good enough for now, let's just play it, be like, no, it's like, let's get the sound or
Yeah.
whatever. And then I love like as soon as those things are recorded in, and if it's MIDI, we have to, edit or whatever, I'll commit it right away and change it to audio to just be like, we made a decision. This is what we loved the day that we were recording it. Everybody in the room was going crazy. So commit it. and move on. And that's what we work with from here on forward. And then if somebody's like puking their guts out in the corner because they can't stand it, you do something
Right.
about it. But like, yeah,
When do you think award shows should be like banned? Like just thrown. I'm just kidding.
dude,
I'm kidding.
no, we could
No, no,
talk about that.
no, I'm just kidding. Top of your head, Marky. Top five bands ever.
Ooh, okay. Pearl Jam was the first one that influenced me like crazy.
Okay.
Um, it's not necessarily something I listen to on a day basis now, but can't deny like its influence on my life or whatever. Same with you too. Anything pre that Beautiful Day record, that was the last one I could listen to. And
I'm with you on that though, because like everybody loves like thinks Joshua's the best. Octane to me is
dude,
I think every song on the album I that's on my list of full albums to redo because I love it so much.
oh dude, I gotta mix that if you do that.
All right.
Awesome.
Sorry, go ahead. Pearl
I
Jam, you
also love
too.
Pop was a great record, even though everybody hated that. And Zeropa I really liked. Yeah, I love their experimental stuff. But anyway, so that's two. So Radiohead after that, that was another one that kind of like changed how I thought. I was headed down a dark path. I had Creed CDs until my brother like smacked me and was
Stop.
like, check out this Radiohead record.
But that's the thing though. Do you like Alter Bridge? Because it's like I couldn't get into Creed, but I love Alter Bridge. Like
Yeah,
same
yeah.
band, different singer, but I mean
Different
Miles,
vibe.
totally. But
Yeah.
like I don't think Miles gets any credit that he did. I mean, he deserves so much credit. He's one of the best singers.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
Creed.
Yeah. Until he passed over. Yeah. So yeah, Radiohead. How many am I at now?
Three,
Three.
four,
Radiohead.
four. Pearl Jam, U2, Radiohead, Creed.
I didn't say Creed.
You did too.
No,
That's
I
how we
was
got
headed
on
down a
it.
dark path that I was saved from.
Oh, all right. All right. Well,
Yeah.
it's still you were on the path. No,
Yeah.
the
Death Cab
left
for
hand
Cutie,
path.
I can't I again it's one where like their recent stuff doesn't do it for me, but the early Death Cab stuff was another one that changed my perspective on music. And then I'm thinking like mostly just influential at this point. Mute Math or
Really?
Incubus, I'd say it'd be a tie. Mute
Hmm.
Math and Incubus are a tie.
I remember Meat Meth came out with what typical, I think. That
Yeah.
their video was just like I saw them live. I think they opened for Jane's Addiction one time. I saw them. They were
Oh
great.
well. Side note, the
All right.
singer of Mute Math is now a producer and he produced the last three 21 Pilots records.
Really?
So that's they went from like going to down a super poppy route to like this more kind of angsty
Grittier.
texture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are
Which
they still
yeah.
playing though too?
Mute Math is not. The singer still does some stuff. I think the drummer has another band or something. The drummer was incredible in that band, but
Gotcha. I agree.
yeah.
If you could travel anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Anywhere in the world. Let's see. So my wife is from Lithuania, so I got to see a lot of Europe. Italy was my like the only thing I ever wanted to see. Um, got to see Iceland, which was amazing, and Sweden. Those were like my only other ones that I wanted. So now I would have to do something a little bit crazier, like Australia, and go with that.
I'm with you on that one.
Except no spiders. I don't want to see them.
That's everybody's always like, look, you're gonna get killed by some animal, but I don't know. I think it's worth a try, right? Just to see Australia. But
I'd like to try, but I have a feeling like everything there wants to kill you.
whatever. If you could join any band, what band would that be? Doesn't even matter like where you could be. You just doesn't even you're not taking anybody's spot. You're just in the band. That's like
Hmm.
it would be your dream. Who would that be?
Oh wow. That I've never heard that question before. That's awesome. Uh Damn, Chris. Uh
We can come back to it.
I'm gonna go well, I'll fire one out. I would go with I'm gonna say Mute Math because I think that would just be a really fun band to play in.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's a good answer.
Yeah.
What is a song that you wish you would have written? Maybe not for even the accolades or the money or anything, just a song that is so like hits you and you're just like, man, I wish I would have written that. Which is a
Pearl.
question because oh, shut up, dude. It's a question anyway because you probably wouldn't feel it the same if you wrote it, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's that's a question. I'm gonna flip that back to you actually, because as a songwriter, there's so many songs that you would be like, man, I wish I wrote that, but it wouldn't. People can say that about songs that you've written, and you'd be like, what are you talking about? I don't like that song, you know? Yeah.
My answer is Everybody Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Fears. So, top of my head, whatever.
Perfect answer. Yeah.
Nah, I don't know about that. But back to the questions we got. We don't have too many more. Thanks for joining me, buddy.
Oh yeah.
Mark Abrams, known you for, geez, a lifetime.
We're old, literally a lifetime, actually, if you're under
Well,
the age of 25.
yeah, pretty well. I don't know. I think we met by like what, 98, 99,
Yeah, for sure.
right?
Net by 99.
Because at the
Possibly even
time,
97.
because
Yeah.
at the time, like, our little burg, you have
Yeah.
to hand it to Curtis and Sergio for everything back then. Like,
Seriously.
not that it was like a scene, but we had a lot of cool talent and a lot of cool bands, and everybody, well, for the most part, went out and saw each other and supported each other. But
I feel like we had a scene. It
I
was
kind of do too.
one of the healthiest scenes I ever saw.
It's
Yeah.
pretty wild how that, and then everybody like in the big city would like trash us, and it was
Yeah.
just like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about? At least we're having fun and doing what we want. You know what I
And we're
mean?
all friends and not like in our cliquey little circles. And
Right.
yeah. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. Let's see. Top five albums off the top of your head. Go.
Top five albums. I'm gonna throw I am gonna throw Joshua Tree in there. Uh and
Really?
Pop from you two. I'll throw both,
Wow.
not necessarily in those in that order. This is damn, this is a good like I never think about these things and they're hard. Um uh OK Computer and Kid A. I'm
I
already at
knew that. I
four.
remember you guys were gaga over
I
that,
was so
over
gaga over
especially
that.
Kid A. I remember you
Yeah.
guys always talking on the Village Bus thing, and it was like, and I was like, I don't know, I'd give it a chance, but I never
Yeah.
made.
Dude,
I
they
don't
were
know.
such an acquired taste for me. Like I said, like I was into like all the alt rock stuff that was going on at the time, and that was like a departure, and it seemed so pretentious to me. And I don't know what got me over that.
You became
Uh,
pretentious.
that must have been it. I I wasn't thinking I would. Like the first time I heard Radiohead,
I'm
it was
kidding.
painful. You know,
Really?
like what is wrong with this guy's voice? My brother loved it from get like from the jump, and I didn't. And then eventually I came around to it. I don't know what happened. And then I like couldn't stop listening to it. And
I
yeah,
just
that's
found
what
out
got
they
my
were.
attention.
I just found out they were the first musical guest on Conan
Oh
back in the
wow,
day. I had no idea. They played Creep
that's
very
gonna send me
first
down
first
a
night.
YouTube rabbit
I'm
hole.
sorry.
Yeah,
All right, all
that's
right.
awesome.
So
I think I'm
that's
at four
technically
there.
four. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't even think of one. There's so many good ones. Like just thinking back, like not even a popular choice or whatever, but the second Stone Temple Pilots record was one that I would just put on and listen front to
Purple.
back,
I
you
went on
know.
one. I went and saw one this last tour because I never got to see him with Wyland. But I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it was about I bawled my brains out because it was so great. Like
Yeah.
they're like the tone masters. Like,
Right.
and I don't.
Yeah.
What's weird is like I rediscovered them after the fact. Like I loved Core and Purple. I kind of like started dropping off on Tiny Music,
Yeah.
but I didn't even realize how amazing. I don't think they ever wrote a bad song. I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. Tiny Music was another one that was amazing.
But it wasn't like do like
Right.
heavier. So I was kind of like at the time, dumb kid. I want my metal and stuff. Not
Right.
metal, but like
I want my heavy guitars. Yeah. Yeah.
laundry's done.
Nice.
But
Dude, I mean, I like incredible records. It's that question is awesome. And I mean, it makes you think because like I haven't listened to a Korn song in decades, probably maybe
right,
a decade. But
the first Korn album it
dude,
changed your life, right?
it was the biggest sounding thing to ever come out of speakers. Like, how
Hmm.
did it was so powerful? Well, I think like one of those like debates that my brother and I were having about Radiohead, he's like, "Oh, you just like heavy, angry stuff," and I was like, "No, that's not true. I like powerful stuff. I
Right,
like things that are so big that they're undeniable and they like push you, emotionally or whatever. It doesn't have to be heavy guitars, but whatever it is. And Radiohead didn't sound that way at that time to me. Eventually, it came around, but yeah, like I was into Korn at that moment because it just sounded so big and you couldn't deny the emotion from it.
right.
The only thing I didn't like that I remember thinking about a lot was like, um, at that time, so much like metal music and, Limp Bizkit, the hip hop stuff was starting to come, like the metalcore and all of that. And I remember thinking like, it's almost a bit of a way out because anger is kind of the easiest emotion to convey, and it's a little bit more difficult to do any other emotion. Like, dude, writing a happy song,
That's deep, dude.
maybe it's because we're from 90s or from the 90s era, but like I think writing a happy song is probably one of the most difficult things in the world or whatever for me.
That's that's a very i- interesting point. I've never really thought about that because it's like I've always wondered when people say like, "Oh, I had writer's block" and stuff like that, and it's always been weird to me because it's like you're too much inside the beast of how you should be making it instead of just making it. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So like, I don't set out to write a heavy song or a happy song or whatever. It's just like whatever happens, happens, and
Yeah.
you know, if I have to write 100 songs to get one good one, then I'll write 500. You
That's
know what I mean?
awesome. Yeah, and you do too. Uh, I want to flip the script on you at some point and like
Uh-oh.
ask you these questions because that's like one thing I am not good at is writing for myself. Like I'm absolutely awful at it. I was okay at it back in the day, and it was probably because I wasn't thinking about it so much, but
I listened
I
to the album
can't
you
get out of
sent
my
me,
own head. Oh,
that
I'm
second
sorry.
album. Dude, it's good. What are you talking about? It's whatever, dude. You
Thanks.
always yell at me.
Yeah.
I dug it.
Oh, that's cool.
It's arty as hell, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you're being too hard on yourself. I thought it was great.
Yeah, that's we'll have to talk offline about that someday because yeah, the I I think like I got trapped in what you're talking about though of like the like I'm too inside of like what should I write about? Okay, if it's going to be
Right,
this thing, then this. And like, instead of it just being a natural free flowing thing like it was when I just did it to do it.
right.
Um, and that's something that's been really hard, especially as uh, becoming a producer and working on other people's records and helping them get through those records became more of my life than being a songwriter. I feel like it made it harder to be a songwriter
So
too.
how, I gotta ask you this. When you're working on somebody else's album with them, they have the song totally done, blah, blah, blah. But I would assume you're gonna be brutally honest and be like, this line sucks, or you need to
Yeah.
change this line. Let's change this line. If they do that, they go along with it. Do you get some songwriter credit? How does that work? Like either
Yeah.
in like publishing or I mean, who knows? Publishing is nothing to losers like me. You know what I mean? My
On the right
friggin'
song, it is worth something. It depends on the record, and if it's a label project, that's something that I would go after, because everybody else is like cutting the
right,
pie. You're right. So it's
right.
like that's the only way to survive in that world,
What
because they're gonna try and like lowball on rates and all that, and be like, well, this is the record that's gonna get a lot of traction. You want your name attached to it. It's like,
and once you look at it like this too, like if my line becomes the hook that
yeah,
sprung you a little bit more success, then you should get a
yeah.
little bit of the pie, I think. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, it's
okay,
just, yeah, it's fair. That's like fair stuff. Yeah.
top five all
Oof.
time go.
Top sung songs. Okay. So with or without you, I don't, it just is. With or without you for sure. And A Day in the Life is on there. There's a song by an artist named Sohn. It's like John with an H, but S instead of a J. So Sohn. I could have just said that.
I've just seen that name recently. Maybe it's
Awesome.
because of you. I don't remember.
Yeah. I just recorded a thing with them for PureMix or with him.
It must have been you.
Yeah, I love that record. I love that guy's music. Yellow Ledbetter and probably Lucky by Radiohead.
All right.
Yeah, go with that.
Very gotcha. What would you say like is your best memory, like from either being in a band or producing or writing? What is there any like favorite memories that you have?
We played the Newport one time and it was like actually our show, which like we didn't sell it out or anything, but we had a decent amount of people in the thing and it was like our biggest concert that we did. Uh, that one we did the Odeon one time for a big crowd, and it wasn't because it was like a big crowd, it was my favorite. we all played well and everything, but it was the excitement of like just five friends doing a thing and being so amped to do it. That was my favorite memory for sure. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What's last good book you read?
Last good book I read was uh Steal Like an Artist is the
Steve,
name of it.
who wrote that?
Austin Kleon.
Hmm.
It's the guy's name, but the whole thing is basically how art is borrowed from other artists from before, and we're all just building on top of everything. And it kind of calls writer's block out as like a false lie, in a lot of ways. And
I already like this. I
yeah,
agree and
yeah, yeah.
wholeheartedly agree. If you haven't got that, it's amazing.
Ooh, wow. Biography of
Very,
Chris Cornell. Awesome.
very cool.
Nice. Did
Let's
you read Rick
see.
Rubin's book?
I did not.
I haven't yet either, but
I'm not sure how I feel about him. I've watched so many interviews with him, and I respect the fact that like he broke so many artists, and like I have to admit, the snare drum on Blood Sugar Sex Magic is one of my favorite snare drums
nice.
of all time, next to Hazy Shade of Winter by the Bangles. It's my
Ooh,
favorite snare drum ever. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to take him sometimes
yeah,
because he's not a musician. He doesn't know anything about it. He just knows when something's good or knows it's.
right,
I can't really. It's hard for me to put myself in that position to be like, "What are you talking about? You can play it then," or something like
right.
that.
I think like music critics might be among some of the least valuable people on the planet.
I
Personally,
agree.
like personal opinion.
I
Uh,
quit. I quit sending my stuff out for reviews just because honestly I don't care.
yeah,
B, it's like, aren't they all failed musicians anyway? Like
yeah,
worse than
right,
me.
right. Yeah, like okay, where's your record, your last record that you made, or did you make something, or just critique something, or whatever? But Rick Rubin's like always in between. Like I go from like, are you just a music review critic guy? And then being like, this is my taste, like that's gross. But then also like you do amazing things. And like while you seem
Right,
like you're just trying to be weird sometimes, then you say something amazing. So
right.
I'm always like on this like weird line and I'm like, I want to read the book.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have it, but I've let somebody borrow it and I can't get it back. So that's awesome.
Finally, I don't want to keep you any longer, brother. I appreciate you. Who, other than Chris Donley, do you wish you could hang out with?
You nailed it. That's it.
All right, that's it.
Yeah. I get to hang out with
Ah, I'm just kidding.
I that's kind of the thing about making music is like especially the only negative thing about producing records is like you'll work with an artist for like we've got a lot of work to do. We're going to be working together for a long time. The thing
Gotta,
that sucks when a record's over is you're spending so much time with this group of people and you form like these amazing relationships and everything and they become your best friends and then like life happens again, like it does with kind of any friendship. Like it takes a lot of effort to keep things going and everybody's life gets busy and all that. And when you're working on a record together, like it's your job to be with a person and you develop these friendships, it's like, oh, like life can't get in the way of that because we have to do this thing. So we're like here. And then that's anyway, all I'm trying to say is like at the end of a record, it always sucks because you're like, oh, it's like I won't see my four best friends
the
unless we
Hickle
all
Boys.
somehow, yeah, yeah, unless we all find a way to like make our lives align for one night every 6 months.
Right.
So
Has
yeah,
there ever been a session or a band or anybody that you're just like dreading to go to the studio like any
seriously.
day? You don't have to say who they
Man,
are, but has there
yeah.
been? Okay, now
Yeah,
you have to say who they are.
yeah,
I'm just kidding.
exactly.
I'm
I
kidding.
watched two
Don't
band
don't tell
members
me.
get in a fist fight in the live room one time.
Really?
That was not good.
Did you record my old bands?
No. Did you have that happen?
Oh, there was numerous times where on stage, like, oh boy,
Oh wow.
I have too many stories that should never be told that are just so dumb.
You're like, I don't want to have to edit this. So
No, I'm not gonna tell about it. I'll tell you
yeah,
when we hang out. So,
sweet, sweet.
but thank you,
Yeah, yeah.
thank you, dude. I appreciate this taking the time, and I'm gonna do this more often. See if I get some other friends I respect and know music, and just chat.
Totally.
See if anybody watches that. All right.
Dude,
So thank you, Mark Abrams, my boy, for joining me on the very first episode.
Yeah, dude,
So do me a
nice
favor,
having
hit
you.
the thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel. Be trying to put up more stuff, fun stuff soon. I'm not going to tell him to seek you out because I'm having Marky do a bunch of my stuff. So I don't want you to take any time away from him to do my stuff. But no, seriously, are there any projects that you've worked on that you do want to plug or anything? Or
If I have to do the pluggy thing, markabramsmixing.com, but I am busy right now. But
a little bit.
yeah, a little bit. And a record I would plug, and this is just to tell you to check it out. I worked with this artist named Buggy, Buggie.
Okay.
This is back in 2019, and she was a singer in a band called Fantods, and then she taught herself Ableton. She taught herself how to make music because she didn't like being told no in the studio by her bandmates. So she made a
Wow.
solo record completely by herself, and then I mixed it. And she's one of my favorite artists, probably of all time, that I probably
B
could have
U
worked with
G
before.
B U G E E.
Bugggie,
Oh, okay.
Buggy, yeah,
Gotcha.
with an IE and two G's. So
Cool.
anyway, yeah, that would be the thing I'd talk to for her. Even though the record's like 6 years old, but whatever.
Doesn't matter, dude.
Yeah.
Now that's the thing too. Like, I think you told me you're just like it doesn't even matter anymore because
Yeah.
so much is released. There's so much out there. It's like I could release an old record from
Nobody knows.
2001 that I put out and nobody knows except for the
Yeah.
people that bought it on CD back then that I don't
Right.
talk to anymore anyway. So, or they're
Yeah.
dead. They're all dead.
They wouldn't know. They're all
They're
dead.
all dead.
Have a great life, everybody. See
I'm
you.
just kidding. But anyway,
Awesome.
thank you, brother. I appreciate spending your time with me and honestly doing amazing work on the stuff I've been sending you. I've probably sent you what 150 songs to mix in the last
I'm
six
gonna need a
months.
new hard drive.
Yeah, do I have to pay for a hard drive?
No,
I've
no.
had studios where I've put done an album and they make me pay for the hard drive. So
Right. No. Yeah, that was back when they were super small and more expensive.
gotcha. Well, looking forward to hearing more stuff and hopefully everybody will dig when I put that stuff out. We'll
Yeah.
see what happens, brother. I don't know when this
Awesome.
will come out. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm
You're
just
amazing as an interviewer, and you can
oh
keep this into the episode.
wow, thanks, pal.
Yeah, and if I could, I would just flip this around and ask you the exact same questions back because those questions are great. So we're gonna have to do that for some episode of your podcast. Awesome.
I appreciate that, Marky. Thank you very much, and give
Thank
your
you.
family a big smooch for me. And we will talk to you soon.
See you.
All right.